Ammonium. Hello all. We are back with our chemistry class. Yesterday we studied that melting point is defined as the temperature at which the solid gets converted into liquid at atmospheric pressure. We did an experiment where we said that when you take a beaker and fill it up with ice and you keep a thermometer which is exactly touching the ice and you slowly start heating the beaker, you find that when the first ice melts, there is some change in temperature. Let us suppose X degree centigrade. Then when the whole ice melts, till that time you will find that there will be no change in temperature. This is because ice will use all the heat to break all the bonds between these ice molecules and to form complete water. This heat is called as what heat? Hidden heat, or called as what heat? Latent heat. How do we define latent heat? We say that the amount of heat required by 1 kg of ice to get converted into liquid at its melting point, at its atmospheric pressure is called as latent heat of fusion. So if we consider water and ice both, which has got more energy? Water has got more energy because it has what with it? Latent heat of fusion. Clear? Now, the second part of the experiment. Let us now consider that there is complete water in the beaker. Okay? Solid has got converted to liquid. Now what we will do? We will take the liquid and at the surface of the liquid we will have the bulb of the thermometer connected. And then we will keep on slowly heating the liquid beaker. I told you we should not heat it fast, because if we heat it fast, what will happen? The beaker will break. So we should heat it slowly, and then what will happen? The liquid will first get converted into vapor. When the first molecule of water gets converted into water vapor, some heat is recorded. After that, you will find that there will be no increase in temperature until and unless entire water gets converted to what? Water vapor. What is that hidden heat called as? This hidden heat will be called as latent heat, but it is called as what? Latent heat of vaporization. So, how do we define boiling point? The point at which the liquid gets converted into vapor at which pressure? Atmospheric pressure. What is latent heat of vaporization? Latent heat of vaporization is said as the amount of heat required by 1 kg of liquid to get converted into vapor at its boiling point at atmospheric pressure. Got that? So both definitions we will repeat twice. What is melting point? Tell me, what is melting point? The temperature at which the solid gets converted into liquid at atmospheric pressure is called as its melting point. Enunciate. The temperature at which the solid gets converted into liquid at what? At atmospheric pressure is called as its melting point. What is boiling point? The temperature at which liquid gets converted into vapor at its atmospheric pressure is called as boiling point. Melting point, you know, the temperature at which the solid gets converted to liquid at atmospheric pressure. What is boiling point? When the liquid gets converted to vapor at atmospheric pressure is called as its boiling point. solid to liquid convert ಆಗುವಾಗ hidden heat ಏನು? Latent heat of fusion. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು? The amount of heat required to convert 1 kg of solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure at its melting point. Same way, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? Latent heat of vaporization ಅಲ್ಲಿ the amount of heat required to convert 1 kg of liquid into its vapor at its boiling point at atmospheric pressure is called as latent heat of vaporization. So, which has more energy, water or vapor or steam? Steam. Why has steam more energy? Because it has hidden heat. This heat is in the form of what? Latent heat of vaporization. So between ice and water, which has more energy? Water, because it has latent heat of fusion. Between water and water vapor or water and steam, which has more energy? Steam, because it has latent heat of vaporization. Is it clear now? So we will revise back till here and then we will go further. What we studied till now is that matter is anything that occupies space and has got mass and volume. The Indian philosophers basically said that there are 5 elements of Panchatattvas which constitute the matter. They are air, water, sky, land and fire. Even many philosophers, later many scientists also proved that matter is basically made up of these 5 elements. What are those 5 elements? Air, water, land, earth and fire. Okay, so now after that we said that matter basically is divided on the basis of its physical properties and chemical properties. Then we said matter is made up of particles. The matter is made up of very small particles called atoms. We did an experiment with potassium permanganate. You remember the experiment that we took for 100 ml beaker or a beaker which has got 100 ml water in it and we added few crystals of potassium permanganate. When we added few crystals of potassium permanganate, the color of the water becomes what? Pink, purple pink in color. Then what we do? We slowly remove 10 ml of it and put it in 90 ml of plain water. Then again the water becomes pink, but it is slightly pink or slightly pink. When I keep on removing 10 ml and doing about 10 times the same thing, I will find that at the end water still will remain pink or purple pink. This shows that potassium permanganate is made up of very small crystals or very small atoms which give red color to the solution. This shows that matter is made up of very small particles called atoms. The same experiment we can even do it with Dettol. The water will become white and will also have the smell of Dettol even after multiple dilutions. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ನೀವು ಹೇರ್ ಕಟ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಟ್ಟೆನ ಡೆಟಾಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಿರ್ತಾರ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕರೋನಾ ಕೇಸ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಡೆಟಾಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಲ್ವಾ ಮನೇಲಮ್ಮ? ಡೆಟಾಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ ಒಂಥರ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಯು. That Dettol also shows that the particles or matter is made up of very small particles called atoms. Then we studied characteristics of particles of matter. We basically studied that matter is made up of very small particles or they are made up of very tiny particles called atom. They are always moving, that is they possess what energy? Kinetic energy. Kinetic energy increases with increase in temperature. We also studied that there is a great force of attraction between them, which is maximum in case of solids, then in case of liquid and then in gas. We also studied that there is interparticle space between them, that is solids have no space, liquid has large spaces. We also studied the process called diffusion. What is diffusion? The process of intermixing of two particles or particles of two different states of matter on its own is called as diffusion. Does diffusion change with temperature? Yes, it increases with increase in temperature. So when we have to change, we have how many states of matter? 5 states of matter. What are our 5 states of matter? Solid, liquid, gas, plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate. We studied difference between solid, liquid and gas. Now we have to study that when I have to change the temperature, change the solid to liquid or liquid to gas, I need to do it by heating it or by changing the temperature. What are the 3 C's of temperature? Degree centigrade, degree Fahrenheit and Kelvin. We studied the interconversion, did some problems based on it. Then we said that when the solid gets converted to liquid, the temperature at which the solid gets converted to liquid at atmospheric pressure is called what? Fusion or melting. When one molecule of ice melts, until the entire ice melts into water, the temperature does not change. Why it does not change? Because all the ice molecules will take up that heat to break all the bonds which are present between the ice molecules and they should start moving. They should start developing kinetic energy. So this hidden heat is called as what heat? Latent heat. Latent heat of what it is called? Latent heat of fusion. How do I define latent heat of fusion? The amount of heat required to convert 1 kg of solid into liquid at its melting point at atmospheric pressure. When the liquid gets converted to vapor, it is called what? Boiling. So what is boiling point? The temperature at which the liquid gets converted into vapor at its atmospheric pressure is called as boiling point. Latent heat of fusion ಏನು? Latent heat of vaporization ಏನು? ಹೇಳೋದಮ್ಮ latent heat of vaporization ಹೇಗೆ? The amount ತೆಗೆಯೋದನ್ನ ಏನಾಗಲ್ಲ ತೆಗಿ. The amount of heat required to convert liquid into vapor at its boiling point is called as latent heat of vaporization. I just now. Okay, we study latent heat of vaporization and latent heat of fusion. We also study that water and ice, if they are measured or if they are seen at the same temperature, we find that water has more energy than ice because water has what? Latent heat of fusion. When I compare water, vapor and water at the same temperature, I find water vapor has more energy because it has latent heat of vaporization. So people say that you should never get burnt by steam, but you can get burnt by boiling water because steam has more energy. Yavatadru gas cooker open madidira, cooker amma beda andiruvaga weight tegedu sudden agi mukha kottidira surutte nodidira. Anything hot which is on the gas or which is just weight tegdilla cooker alli mukha it nodi heng surutte nodi. That is because steam basically has more energy as it has what? Latent heat of vaporization. Clear till here? Now we have to study something which is called as sublimation. So what we studied till now, if we have to depict it in terms of interconversion, when solid gets converted to liquid, it is called what? Fusion. When liquid gets converted to solid, it is called what? What do you put to water to make it into ice? What do you do with the water? Freeze. So it is called what? Freezing. Liquid to gas is called what? Vaporization. Gas to liquid, condensation. You would have seen when water is being boiled, if you put a plate over it, there will be a lot of water droplets on it. That is because water vapor has converted into liquid water. So solid to liquid, fusion. Liquid to solid, freezing or solidification. Liquid to gas, vaporization. Gas to liquid, condensation. Now a process in which solid directly gets converted to gas without coming into liquid state is called what? Sublimation. A process, what is sublimation? A process in which the solid directly gets converted to gas without coming into liquid state is called as sublimation. What happens when gas gets converted to solid? This is also called as deposition. Okay. This is called as deposition. Some books will also teach you as sublimation only. Okay. Old books will call it as sublimation. Probably new books have it as deposition. ನೋಡಿ textbook ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ? Solidification and deposition. Deposition ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡೋಣ. ನನ್ನ textbook ಅಲ್ಲಿ sublimation ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Old textbook ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು sublimation of gas. Actually, both are sublimation, but you can write if your textbook says this as deposition. This is what it is written down. Solid to liquid, fusion. Liquid to solid, freezing or solidification. Liquid to gas, vaporization. Gas to liquid, condensation. Solid to gas, sublimation. Gas to solid, deposition. So now we have to study this activity diagram, and the definition is very important. According to the definition, what is a sublimation? Sublimation basically is a process where the solid gets converted into gas without coming into what state? Liquid state. So sublimation basically means when solid gets converted into gas without coming into liquid state, it is called as sublimation. Okay, without coming into liquid state, it is called as sublimation. Now here, three substances will easily show sublimation. Have you seen karpura? Aarti maduvaga. Do you find liquid karpura anywhere? Nothing. When you burn that karpura crystal or something, it immediately gets converted into black smoke to take aarti, and that is over. So, what is karpura called as? Camphor. So, first thing it sublimes, which you see is camphor. Second thing, what it sublimes is what? Naphthalene balls. All of you would have seen those white things which Amma will keep when she is packing up sweaters, when she is packing up jerkins inside, or even when she is keeping sarees, silk sarees and all. She will put one white color small ball. That is called as what ball? Naphthalene ball. You will never find naphthalene getting converted into liquid state. Naphthalene slowly starts becoming smaller and smaller. Some people even put it in their wash basin and sinks so that there are no insects coming there. So naphthalene balls. Third and most important is ammonium chloride. What is ammonium chloride? NH4Cl. Ammonium chloride. So the three substances which will always show sublimation are camphor, naphthalene and ammonium chloride. So now for the activity, we will study the sublimation of ammonium chloride. I will draw a very rough diagram. You are supposed to draw the diagram from the textbook. You have to draw and put it in the WhatsApp group today. It is figure 1.7. Okay, so now let us understand how to do it. First thing, we will take a plate. Which plate? A ceramic plate, a glass plate, any plate. And then we will put what? Little of ammonium chloride. First understand everything go and draw. Ammonium chloride is put into it. Then we put what? One inverted funnel. One inverted funnel over that ammonium chloride. Please look here. We have taken a plate. In the plate, we put somewhat ammonium chloride in the petri dish, or you can directly put it on the plate. And then we put what? One inverted funnel over ammonium chloride. Here, the opening of the funnel, we block it with the cotton plug so that nothing goes outside and nothing from outside can come inside. That means the solid vapor should not go out. Okay, so when you heat ammonium chloride, what happens is this ammonium chloride sublimes. That is, it gets converted from solid to gas. And then after some time, actually I should have drawn the neck like this. So after some time when the gas is not allowed to go, and after sublimation, leaving it for some time, you will find that the gas again gets converted and deposition of ammonium chloride can be seen in the neck of the test tube or the neck of the funnel. Clear? I will read it across. Take some camphor or ammonium chloride, crush it and put it on a china dish. China dish is a normal plate, ceramic plate use marble. Put an inverted funnel over the china dish. Put a cotton plug on the stem of the funnel so that nothing goes out and nothing from outside can come in. Now heat slowly and observe. What will you find? You will find that crystals or ammonium chloride gets deposited at the neck of the funnel. This is because ammonium chloride directly gets converted from solid to gas, and then finally it gets deposited at the neck of the funnel. Clear? So this states that the solid completely gets converted to gas is called as what? Sublimation. Three substances which show sublimation: camphor, ammonium chloride and naphthalene gas. Clear? Now, effect of change of pressure. We have already learned that the difference in various state of matter is due to the difference in the distances between the constituent particle. Correct? Solids have no interparticle space, liquids have a little more, and gases have very high interparticle space. So now, if I have a very high interparticle space gas and I apply pressure, so what will happen? Particles will come closer to each other. When the particles come closer to each other, the gas will get converted into liquid. Now, do you think that increasing or decreasing the pressure can change the state of matter? Yes, if I increase the pressure on the gas, it will become liquid. Applying pressure and reducing temperature can liquefy a gas. So you can write it as IPRT. Increase pressure, reduce temperature. The gas will be converted to liquid. Correct? What is our logic? How can gases be liquefied? By increasing pressure and reducing temperature. When you reduce temperature, the movement of the particle becomes less. The kinetic energy becomes less. And when you increase pressure, the particle come closer to each other. So when the particle come closer, with less movement, it becomes what state of matter? The liquid state of matter. Please write a question. How do we liquefy gas, or underline that line? Gases gets liquefied when you increase pressure and reduce temperature. Have you heard of solid carbon dioxide? It is stored under high pressure Solid carbon dioxide gets converted directly to gaseous state on decrease of pressure to an atmosphere without coming into liquid state. That is why solid carbon dioxide is called as what ice? Dry ice. So please write a question. What is dry ice? Answer A. Solid carbon dioxide is called as dry ice. Why is it called as dry ice? It is called as dry ice, underline Madi, because it gets converted directly to gaseous state on decrease of pressure to 1 atmosphere without coming into liquid state. Carbon dioxide generally is a gas. But solid carbon dioxide is called as what ice? Dry ice, because it does not come into liquid state but directly comes from solid to gaseous state. Now we can say that pressure and temperature determine the state of the substance. So if I increase pressure and reduce temperature, I can easily liquefy a gas. These questions which are there as index question is homework for tomorrow. Tomorrow we will do evaporation and we will finish this chapter. Thank you.